Okay, hey, good morning, thanks. I don't have an opening statement, but I do have just a few comments, and let me just hit a few of those, and probably will cause some interest in a wide variety of topics here. But as you know, right now we're on day 20, going into day 21 of Operation Mystark, a planned 30-day op, at least for the initial phase. RC South, my higher headquarters, is working Op Mystark in two different AOs. Really, one is the Task Force Helmand, the British AO, and Nadia Ali. And within Task Force Helmand, you had Afghans, of course, Brits, Danes, and Estonians. And then the port that we'll talk about tonight was in southern Nadia Ali district, or what we better know as Marjah, and where we had Task Force Leatherneck. Again, we had Afghan, Marine, Navy, of course, and an Army Striker battalion. I just like to hit up top that I see a lot in the papers about Marjah being a city. Marjah's, the AO is about 400 square kilometers. Marjah proper, what we would define is almost 200 square kilometers, so a pretty significant area. I think most of you are aware that D-Day went on the 13th of February. RCT-7 under Colonel Rainey Newman inserted 3 companies of Afghan and U.S. Marines between the hours of 02 and 05 on that night. They were inserted by our Aviation Combat Element led by Colonel Beak Vest and the U.S. Army Combat Aviation Brigade, Paul Bricker, and supported by Colonel John Simmons and our Combat Logistics Regiment. What we wanted to accomplish very quickly was to go big, strong, and fast, get into the center of Marjah, occupy the spine of Marjah, if you will, and start clearing out. We were able to insert all of our heliborne forces without incident. And at first light, we wanted to wait till first light to begin moving our ground forces in. We were prepared to breach at several different sites. We had a deception operation in the sense that we massed forces at the areas we had no intention of breaching on. And at first light, we moved swiftly, and using the assault breacher vehicle, we're able to get through the minefields, which were significant, and the enemy had lots of time to plan and shape those. But we were able to move in relatively unencumbered. So we got about 4,000 Marines, Afghans, and soldiers into Marjah relatively quickly. I also see the number 15,000 thrown a lot, and that might include all of the support that is involved in the operation. But within Marjah today, we have about 2,500 U.S. Marines and about 1,500 Afghan soldiers. In addition, we have about 600 ANCOP, or National Police. We did a little shaping prior to the operation, and the Striker Battalion, U.S. Army Striker Battalion 423 Infantry did a great job of holding 11 bridges that connected Marjah from Nadia Ali on the canal there. Again, our goal here was to come in big, strong, and fast, put the enemy on the horns of a dilemma. But we understood from the very beginning that the people here were the prize. They were the objective of the operation was to get to the people. I will tell you that as important as the tactical ops were, the tactical ejection of the Taliban is a distant second to the psychological dislocation of the Taliban. We've been here for 10 months, and I can tell you that wherever we go, people say, yeah, you did a good job in Garmshir or Nawa or Kenishin, but when are you going to Marjah? There was a pervasive sort of a question consistently about when would the Marines, when would the Afghan government go into Marjah? And I certainly understand it, because if that's where the enemy's at, if that's where the enemy center of gravity is at, if that's where the enemy sanctuary is at, why aren't you guys going in there? I think the second and third order effects of this Marjah operation will have tremendous benefits, not only for Helmand, but for all of southern Afghanistan. Talk about the Afghan Army just for a second. You know, we've had about 40 media embedded with us over the last month, and I would tell you that I think the Afghan Army is grading out here pretty well. Some units are veteran units that we brought in from outside the AO and have done exceptionally well. We have an Afghan battalion that, for all intents and purposes, has operated independently since the very beginning of the op. we have some newer Afghan units that we have to partner with very closely. Really, they're just out of recruit training. So I think there's a wide variety of the Afghan Army experience here in Marjah. But I can tell you that I am exceptionally proud of their great service. These guys run to the sound of gunfire, and when I talk to the young Marines, they tell me how very happy they are to have them there. You know, Marines don't search any of the homes. In an area this large, when you decide you've got to search a home, the guys going in are going to be Afghan soldiers. And they've done that very well. They've earned the trust and confidence of the Marines, and so overall, I think we're in good shape. And the other piece I would add is when we did Operation Khanjar in July, we had, for every Afghan soldier, we had about 10 Marines. So for this operation in Mushtarak, I think it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio, maybe a little less than that, but you know, maybe closer to 3-to-1. But the fact of the matter is a tremendous improvement in not only the numbers but in the capability of the force that we have. We are now obviously working with the ANCOP. I don't know how long we'll have them, but we are in the process of recruiting